Okay, and I want to walk you guys through today the exact system that I use to take brand new stores to 100K a month and beyond. Okay, a lot of people overcomplicate 100K a month, right? It's actually relatively easy to get to when you actually have a proper product and great system. When we talk in 100K a month with e-commerce, we're talking about 20 to 50% margins. We're not talking about 90% margins. It's not all profit. If you're making 100K a month in e-com, you're probably making 20 to 40% margin. Okay, so we're going to talk about today how to hit 100K a month in revenue. I'm going to break it down and show you guys through this system here today. What's cool about this is this system is ultimately what I've built for me to actually infrastructure my entire kind of portfolio of companies, right? And what's cool about this, right, is it allows me to actually have a foundation, and I've been using it for years. When you're following someone's system, when you're following someone's strategy, ask yourself if they keep changing it every single week. Why do they keep changing it? Does it not work or something? If you're having a great system, you should keep the system, but you should adapt to market changes, right? You want to follow a system that's cohesive, and that will allow you to actually be utmost consistent, right? And that's the difference maker, guys. I want you to actually understand how to do things correctly and how to move forward properly, okay, and give you guys the power to actually have your own infrastructure and foundation. And that's what's so important, right? It's so important that you guys know how to do this once, right? So you can do it over and over and over again, right? Because many of us value having one business or being able to build one store, but how about being able to build them over and over again? How to build several companies, right? Now, what's cool about this system, you could use it for e-commerce stores and growing them, right? I also have people who have used this for Airbnb listings, for service-based marketing, whatever it is, you name it. This is a great ad strategy that is multi-purpose, okay? We actually have a very successful author in our Beyond Six Figures Platinum Club right now, and she's using this to not only drive more sales to her Amazon store, but also to her direct website as well. Okay, so whether you're an e-commerce physical product, you're a service-based entrepreneur, or you're someone who's just looking to get more traffic to some sort of landing page, this is going to help you guys out. First and foremost, one of the biggest things for us to realize is our ad strategy should be a foundational approach. And when I say a foundational approach, guys, I mean actually having not all your eggs in one basket, right? If you have all your eggs in one basket, you're going to be having ultimately volatile movements and volatile results. And that's not what you're looking to do. You're looking to have proper movement, and you're looking to have growth and consistency that is actually linear and is predictable as well. The first thing you'll be doing is algorithmic targeting. Okay, algorithmic targeting sets the stage for your foundation. And what I mean by that is you're ultimately not launching one ad set, two ad sets, you're launching a plethora of 11 audiences at once. Okay, and the goal here is to actually curate 11 audiences that ultimately go through the entire niche, and you're essentially saying, hey, I'm hitting every corner, every pocket of my niche, so I know if I'm moving forward with this product, I'm hitting every angle, right? Because one of the cool things that we do is as we test products, we kill within the first 1, 2, or 3 days if the item shows signs of life or signs of not life, right? So if you see momentum while you're running the algorithmic targeting, that's phenomenal, but we also have a few kill metrics I'll be walking you guys through here shortly also. All my students use algorithmic targeting. You probably have seen all the results in the Facebook group just today alone, right? These people are using algorithmic targeting, okay? It's 11 audiences, each on $5 a piece. It's about $55 a day, okay? But you're killing audiences as you move forward as well. As you launch algorithmic targeting, your goal here is to run it for 3 days, okay? Each audience should be killed based on the following metrics. Day 1, no view content, we kill it. Day 2, no add to cart, we kill it. And day 3, no purchase, we kill it. Okay, the reason is within the first few days, we have such low spend, we're not looking too deep into our KPI metrics. Okay, we're not looking too deep into CTR, CPC, etc. We're going to ultimately look at the first line metrics, view content, add to cart, purchase. Okay, we're seeing ultimately if we can gain some momentum in the first 3 days here. I only like to go ahead and market products that I see some quick signs of traction with. Okay, I ultimately find myself seeing this with higher margin goods. Okay, so ultimately focus on $20, $30, $40, $50, $60 products, product margins. Okay. Ultimately, what I like to do is focus on $30, $40, $50, $60 product margins, okay? Upwards, higher than 20. Don't be someone who just sticks near $15 or $20. It's going to be a lot harder for you to remain constantly profitable when you first start. So make it easier for yourself and have $30, $40, $50, $60 margins off the rip, okay? It's going to make it worlds easier for you guys. And that's why you see so many results in this Facebook group of people having great ROAS and great ROI and great return. It's because they're following algorithmic targeting, they're going into micro big bang, and they have great margin. Right. And what's cool about this strategy, guys, is not only, right, you have it step by step and it's very properly, clearly laid out, because this is what I do for my own companies. But what's cool about it is the fact that as you gain sales in algorithmic targeting, you're going to duplicate these audiences out. When you're duplicating these audiences out, you're going to be ultimately building a deeper pocket of these audiences. Right. And what's important here is you guys actually start to understand the fact that as you start to see momentum, right? You're going to duplicate those audiences because there's more pockets of buyers within. Every single audience, okay, has multiple pockets of buyers or pockets of people inside the audience. That's why sometimes you'll see a spurt of sales 2 days in a row and then nothingness, because the pixel is ultimately scavenging through the audience, seeing who it wants to go ahead and target. And sometimes it gets into winning pockets, sometimes it gets into losing pockets. Okay, and what's important here is that we actually start duplicating these audiences out after we see the first sale in algorithmic targeting. So let's say we see a sale in algorithmic targeting in the first 3 days of marketing. What happens here is you're going to see a profitable ROAS because you're only running a $5 margin, and you're following my instructions of having a $30, $40, $50, $60 margin product. Okay, so you're going to be profitable as soon as you make a sale, which is pretty cool. Okay, and what happens here is you duplicate that audience 5 times in the same campaign. Rather than just increasing the audience, what I want you to do is duplicate the audience to do what? Absolutely increase the actual pocket of buyers that you're actually having access to. That's why we duplicate. We rather spread our ad spend across the board as a foundational infrastructure before we actually start scaling vertically. Okay, and that's one of the biggest things that you guys have to understand is take it slow. Don't just rush to ads, right? Take it slow. Okay, don't just rush to scaling, right? And what's important here is actually focusing on movement, okay, and keeping the momentum going. That's why we duplicate. Now, let's say one of our algorithmic audiences gets a sale. We make the duplicate 5 times in the same campaign, and then the duplicate gets a sale as well. Continue to make these duplicates. What we're doing here, okay, is we're making a foundation. This is what Bobby's doing right now. Bobby just posted, he just hit his first $10,000 month, almost, right inside our BSF group. Okay, he did like $9,000. Okay, check it out. And he's doing same thing we're doing here, which is duplicating out. He got all the way to I. What that means is this. We count our duplicates based on the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, right? So he duplicated that many times, 5 times, to build a fat foundation of these audiences that are particularly doing well. This means as you actually focus and start to watch these audiences, you now have a nice plethora or a foundation of the same audience that's been performing well. You now have a foundation. On any given time, that audience could be performing. And what's different here about just adding budget to it is ultimately if you add budget, you're going to be more at risk rather than having smaller budgets on the audiences spread across the foundation where you're going to be spending less on each audience. And in turn, you'll oftentimes see yourself getting better quality traffic when you're doing this, right? And then you get a sale on an audience that actually has a lower budget and your ROAS is higher than it would be on an audience that you maybe are spending more on, focusing on just a few audiences rather than a whole foundation. Don't mean to go too over the top here, guys. I know this is new for a lot of us, okay? But keep in mind here, this is what's going to get you the result you're looking for because you need to be doing things that are different than everyone else out there. At 25 sales, we'd like to go ahead and start our remarketing, okay? And what's cool here is when you actually focus on starting remarketing at 25 sales, you're gonna actually enable yourself to start hitting the people who didn't convert on your website at first, which is super, super cool. Now, when you actually have your remarketing going, I want you to look back at your algorithmic campaign and start to notice which audiences have gained the most traction, which audiences have gained the most sales, and which audience also has the most actual high ROAS with the most sales. Because the goal here is to go ahead and notice that particular audience and start dissecting. Dissecting is taking each keyword out of algorithmic and now targeting it as your simple single interest. Okay, so let's say we have 3 keywords in one column and that audience is doing very well. Okay, in Algorithmic, I duplicated it a few times. I made it to 25 sales to do my remarketing. Now what I want to go ahead and do, guys, is take the keywords out of that successful audience and start targeting each keyword with its own $5 budget to give each keyword its own spend so I can expand that buyer pool. And that's exactly why I do that. Okay, so you can actually move forward and kind of squeeze all the juice out of every audience that you possibly can. And you're only on really step 1 here. There's still a lot more to go that can take you very deep. Okay, and a lot of people will pass the first $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a day mark just on these first 2 steps, which is pretty damn cool, right? Most systems in the marketplace, they're not cohesive like this, right? They're just all over the place. They have no rhyme or reason, and they don't fit together like a puzzle piece. We just went through algorithmic retargeting. We just went through remarketing. Okay, we went through dissection. Those are the first 3 steps that you guys are going to take here, right? You're going to go ahead and move to micro big bang. And this is an industry known strategy that I made years and years ago, and it's been working extremely well ever since. Keep in mind, micro big bang only starts at 100 sales. Okay, and what's important here is because that's when you can start to create custom audiences and lookalikes thereafter. Okay, so when you hit that 100th sale, start to create custom audiences based off of what you want to create as lookalikes. So for example, for Micro Big Bang, we take every single custom audience possible. Viewed content, initiate checkout, website visitors, no matter what it purchased, add to cart, no matter what it is, email list, we're taking it as a custom audience, uploading it and creating it in Facebook, and then using that custom audience to drive a lookalike audience out of. Okay, and that's exactly what we're focusing on here, is deriving these lookalike audiences, okay, out of these custom audiences to then expand our reach. All lookalike audiences, guys, is actually saying, hey, Facebook, I have 100 purchasers. Can you find me 2 million people who are just like these 100 people who have purchased? Or, hey, Facebook, I got 300 purchasers or 300 initiate checkouts. Can you find me 3 million people who are just like these people who initiated checkout, right? We're looking for similar people, and Facebook's algorithm is so smart, it enables us to actually say, hey, let me get a bigger pool of people comparative to the people who have already bought on my website. Okay, and that's what's so cool about this, guys. Okay, and as you move forward through Micro Big Bang, right? Micro Big Bang ultimately is a $1.50 audience. Okay, but there's 100 of them. Okay, and what's cool about this is you're starting to build a really low budget infrastructure, not only with Algorithmic, but also with Remarketing, dissection, duplication, and now Micro Big Bang as well. What happens here is you actually have so many audiences that are duplicated and running low budget that you're actually starting to see great momentum and consistency, and you're scaling linear. And that's the difference, guys. So many people fail to understand that by running low budget audiences, you'll oftentimes get better quality traffic, which will result in better ROAS. So if you actually duplicate your audiences out on a smaller budget, you can maintain better consistency when you first start off in the business, right? And that's what's so important for many of us. Don't just be a launch monkey, right? Focus on scaling slowly but surely, because you want to have your business for years, right? You just don't want to have the business for a month or two, right? You want to have the business for years. So realize these things, guys. Okay, and that's what's going to make the difference for y'all. So you'll have Algorithmic, right? You'll have your duplications of Algorithmic. You'll have your Remarketing at 25 sales. You'll have your dissection, and you'll also have your Micro Big Bang, which is made up of custom audiences, which we're deriving lookalike audiences from, and putting each of them on a $1.50 audience on 7-day click, 1-day view, because we're simply letting these audiences cook for the long term. And that's why we call it the farm system, because we're curating a farm of audiences that will actually begin to actually move forward and be utilized later down the road in CBO, which is campaign budget optimization. What we're essentially doing here is allowing ourselves to focus on real movement, okay, in our ad account. Okay, because you don't want to just be stuck running a few audiences. You guys would love to be able to actually focus on having many audiences to choose from, right? And that's why Bobby is doing so well right now in the BSF experience, right, in our Platinum Club. He has so many audiences crushing it. He's always having new audiences that become extremely profitable that he's ending up scaling large. And that's the difference, right? Having the pickings of all of the profitable audiences rather than just only having a few. And that's the real difference maker that I want so many of us to understand here, right? And that's the difference between someone who puts all their money into the ad account, into one ad set. You could wake up one day and the ads go to poop, right? Or you could have your budget spread out and you do well. Now, would you put all your money in Tesla? If you were very, very confident that it was going to the moon, but if you're not sure, and no one's sure, right? You don't know if it's a particular, something that is going to absolutely moon. You're not going to put all your money in Tesla. You're going to spread it out across other stocks. Same thing here. Okay, you're going to actually have some diversification in your spend. And this will protect your downside, and also enable you to keep your ROI and your ROAS high, which is so huge for you guys.